All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Older Vermonters Caucus. Appreciate you all coming today. We're going to be hearing about our senior centers and meal providers. But before we get started, if anyone has any announcements they'd like to make, I'd love to hear them. Otherwise, we'll get started and we can always circle back later. So welcome, everybody. Not seeing any announcements. We'll get started. Deanna, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. We're thrilled to be here, and we have a little bit of a different presentation today. I'm so glad that we have the opportunity. I'm going to share my screen. And is that working for everybody? You can see the slides? Okay.
It is.
Great. So I'm Deanna Jones. I'm the director for the Thompson Senior Center in Woodstock, and I'm also the chair for the Vermont Association of Senior Centers and Meal Providers. You're going to hear from several of us today. VAS Camp was formed in 2014, and we are a network of senior centers and meal providers led by a volunteer steering committee that meets monthly to share ideas, support each other, and make connections throughout the state. You'll hear from a few of our steering committee members today and some other network members and participants as well. So the mission of VAS Camp is to support and advocate for senior centers and meal sites on a statewide level, and to promote the growth and quality of these centers and strengthen the professional skills of the staff and volunteers at the centers and meal sites. So what we're going to do for you today is really jump around the state. Instead of just one person talking, there actually are 7 of us. I don't see everyone quite here yet, so we might have to change this order a little bit, but we're going to take you all around the state to different senior centers and meal providers and network members and all these different areas. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to White River Junction first.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Bradley. I'm the director here at Bugbee Senior Center in White River Junction. It's nice to be able to have the chance to talk to you about life at Bugbee. So our mission is to enable individuals over 60 years of age to remain independent and involved members of the community. And we do that through several programs. We have our nutrition program, which is the biggest one, and then there's a whole array of enrichment activities and classes. We have a senior advocate who provides some social services and assistance with benefits. We do durable medical equipment loans, volunteer rides. We provide referrals to other services and a whole lot more. All right, Deanna, are you advancing the slides? There we go. Nice. We have a community garden in the back, so these are a few of our participants enjoying the garden. They spontaneously did garden parties and things. It was pretty awesome. On the next slide, our nutrition program accounts for about 2/3 of their total service units each year. So over the last year, we served about 30,000 meals to over 500 seniors, and this number just keeps growing each year. Most of the nutrition program, including congregate lunch, has rebounded from the pandemic, and we're still offering takeout meals in addition to Meals on Wheels. Our enrichment activities account for about 1/3 of all participation here at the center. There's a really wide variety. Today we just had cardio drumming, which was really fun. So we try to cover fitness, health and wellness, just general social activities to keep people connected together, a lot of crafting classes, a whole bunch of educational programs. Actually, right now after lunch, we're doing scam and fraud prevention with some folks from the bank. We do arts and entertainment presentations, digital and virtual sessions, field trips, health clinics. I mean, you name it, we'll try to put it on the calendar. It's safe to say that Bugby seniors like keeping active, especially Lorinda, who you can see here on the left. Over the last year, we recorded over 41,000 total service units and served over 1,000 area seniors. Last year, we also loaned out at no cost 405 pieces of durable medical equipment, so things like wheelchairs, walkers. We estimate that provided savings to the community of over $45,000 compared to if they all had to purchase those items. And thinking about how much waste it was diverted from the landfill by reusing these things. The rides and trips and social services, that all accounted for about 3% of the rest of our service units, but it still is important for the people who need it. Bugby is a very social place. We try to weave in opportunities to connect with each other in everything we do and the way we schedule activities. Over the years, we've made friends like family. We've gone places together. We got outside, we celebrated, we created, we sang, we danced, we got out into the community. We had fun. We definitely ate well. And we always take some time to remember those who have passed. So how does it all happen and where does our funding come from? So we have a pretty diverse revenue stream. About a fifth comes from local towns and almost a third from the Older Americans Act. So I would say about half comes from government. Participants provide about 20%, mostly through meal donations. Most of the activities are free. There are some that there is a nominal fee for participating, although we're not super strict about collecting that from everyone. Philanthropic gifts, grants, and sponsorships account for about a quarter of our revenue, and the remainder just comes from a variety of other sources. The town of Hartford owns and maintains our building, so it's not on our books, but we still consider that an important contribution. So we take in all that money and how do we spend it? So our accountant estimates about 82 cents of every dollar is spent directly on senior programming. Half of their entire annual budget is just for the nutrition program. Older Americans Act funding covers about half of that budget. And then we allocate from other sources of funding to help keep the program going and growing. We're still budgeting at a deficit and are always working every year to help close that gap without impacting service. Our last and not least source of support, we get significant support from our volunteers. Deanna, if you want to go to the next slide. We have over 100 people who help pack meals, delivery drivers, receptionists, wait staff, and a bunch of other helpful jobs. Volunteers receive no compensation and no mileage reimbursement. But our turnover rate is very low, and we're grateful to live in a community that has a spirit of service. We estimate their combined efforts save us over $75,000 in payroll each year, and so we consider their contributions as important as any other philanthropic gift to the center. So thank you, Bugby volunteers. So that's Bugby today. Where we're going to be going from here, we've been putting some work in improving our program evaluation and to start doing annual community surveys. We'd like to increase availability of evidence-based programs, and there's some funding coming through VASCamp for that, which we're excited about. We're working on a pilot transportation workshop and carpooling program to help reduce motor vehicle trips. Hopefully we'll be piloting a reusable meal tray program for Meals on Wheels. We'll be investing in programs to improve digital literacy among seniors, since that's such an important part of civic life now. We're also always working to diversify funding sources to support additional growth and capacity and to improve resiliency and strengthening partnerships with other community organizations. So with that, thank you all for taking the time to learn more about Bugby. If you're in White River Junction around lunchtime, come down for a meal and we'll be happy to have you. And I'm looking forward to hearing about my colleagues' centers.
Great, thank you, Mark. Next, we're going to travel over to Rutland, and I'll hand it over to April to introduce herself and her center.
Hi there, can everyone hear me? I'm April Chaffee. I'm one of two program directors now, currently based out of the Godnick Adult Center in Rutland City. Pardon me as I read some of my notes. The Godnick Adult Center is one of 4 year-round facilities operated by the municipality of the city of Rutland. So we fall directly under the Recreation and Parks Department as one of their facilities. We have, as of January 1st, 2 full-time staff members based out of the Godnick Center. That's because of the increase in activities and traffic we've seen here. It was justifiable to base 2 full-time employees out of here. Their roles do extend to programming beyond just the center. So while we are operating here 9 sometimes to 9 a.m. sometimes to 9 at night, and on weekends with rentals, we still have stuff outside of this building. So there are 4 seasonal part-time staff members who instruct classes, along with 15 to 20 regular volunteers that we have here. We also work collaboratively with multiple organizations around the area, like Bone Builders, a whole bunch of different community-based organizations, so that we're able to partner with them and be a host site for their programming and activities. Our community members at the Godnick Center are made up of adults and older adults from Rutland City, as well as the surrounding towns. Daytime and evening services include congregate lunches twice a week, age and mobility conscious exercise programming, such as SEAT, which is supported exercise for ageless training, Tai Chi, yoga, meditation, movers and shakers, which is a Parkinson's-based curriculum program, as well as educational presentations on a variety of engaging and relative topics through partnerships with other organizations like Osher Lifelong Learning, which is a UVM program, as well as UVM Extension Master Gardeners, our local network there. They offer once a month education on gardening. We also have music groups, book discussions, fiber arts, arts and crafts activities. And that's kind of like what we do that's based here. We also offset some of our fees by offering weekend rentals. So we're also an event site. So we host birthday parties, bridal showers, all of those things to help us earn extra revenue on the weekends to offset the fact that a lot of our programs, like many other senior centers, are free or low cost. So we're trying to bring in the revenue in different ways. And then I think that that's kind of like where we're at. I apologize not being more prepared, but we are, as you can see, we just finished a full month calendar, which is totally packed with activities and events. But one of the things that makes our organization grow and be successful and constantly changing and adjusting is the partnerships that we have within our community, whether it's with our local AAA. We're offering an event this month to support the March for Meals campaign, calling it a Champions Dinner, and hosting an event that will hopefully bring in funds to support Meals on Wheels, or working with our local hospital to offer education in health-related activities, chronic disease, how to live better longer. So I think that's, I know I just went through that really fast, but hopefully that hit all the marks.
Thank you so much, April. April has an amazing newsletter, and we know how busy you are with all those. So next we are going to travel to Lamoille County, and I'll turn it over to Nicole to introduce herself and her center.
Thanks, Deanna. My name's Nicole Fournier-Grisgraber. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. I've enjoyed being the executive director for Meals on Wheels in Lamoille County for the last 9 years. We are a meal site, nutrition site. That's our main focus. Our mission here at Meals on Wheels Lamoille County is to improve the health and enhance the quality of life for our community elders by providing nutritious meals and social interaction. We work tirelessly to meet our mission every day by preparing healthy foods, using locally sourced produce and beef, and cooking from scratch as much as possible. Our summer is often filled with hundreds of pounds of locally gleaned produce that we lightly process so that our freezers are well stocked going into each winter. Each meal is delivered hot and ready to enjoy. We also provide frozen meals for the weekend for those that need a little extra help. Our volunteer delivery drivers, we need about 45 each week, are encouraged to visit during their delivery and enjoy the meal delivery process. We ask them to let us know if there's something concerning so that we can work with our community partners and share resources that could be helpful, like a firewood program or home health services, for example. Remember that many recipients do not drive and can no longer cook, so these connections are important. The vast majority of older Vermonters we serve live in isolation on backcountry roads. Because of this, our well check is as important as our meal. If someone does not answer the door, we contact their emergency contact. And as a last resort, we ask our local police department for help. On average, we make over 40 calls each month. We often discover it was as simple as they were at a doctor's appointment. Still, sadly, we have found the elders have fallen, been lost, or worse, have died. The families, AKA caregivers, appreciate our thoroughness. By 2060, 1 in 3 Americans will be 60 or older. Our population is aging and the demand for meals is also growing. In fact, the last 10 years, Meals on Wheels Lamoille County has experienced a 12% increase in participation and served over 500,000 meals just in Lamoille County, one small piece of Vermont. Meals on Wheels Lamoille County receives 40% of its funding through Older Americans Act funding and makes up the other 60% themselves by campaigning. To celebrate March for Meals, I invite you to visit your nearest nutrition program and join them in delivering meals or having lunch with an older Vermonter. Thank you for supporting our important work, and please vote yes for H.109. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicole. We appreciate that. Next up, we have in her car, Ruby, coming to us, probably not from Putney, but speaking about Putney Community Cares today.
Hi, thank you. So Putney is a different scale of an organization serving our community than many of the ones that you've heard so far. Putney itself is about 2,600 individuals. That's our village, our little town. And we in 2018, Putney Community Cares was born through the merger of a Putney Cares organization and Putney Family Services. So 2 organizations that serve 2 pretty distinct groups on a spectrum of age. And when we merged, we began to serve our entire community. Our mission really, and I'm not going to read it there, but essentially our mission really focuses on intergenerational collaboration in our community, supporting the wellness of our entire community in a variety of different ways. But we still, although when we merged, we the demographic that we serve expanded. A lot of the programs that we have specifically focus on and support older adults. If you could advance to the next slide. So we are a Meals on Wheels distribution center. We distribute to a small number of people 3 days a week, but we give meals, frozen meals as well. So we have a meals for every day. We have a number of things that we have traditionally done have been paused and continue to be paused during for COVID reasons. We still require masks in our space and ask people to vaccinate once the windows open. We're very hopeful that we'll have congregate meals coming back. In the interim, we have been distributing Everyone Eats meals, particularly to Meals on Wheels recipients, but also some other neighbors in our village. That's been critically important for many in our community. But we also offer a foot care clinic classes. Our most popular one right now is Tai Chi, and what we're seeing is a desire for yoga and strong living to come back from Zoom, which is where they are now. so our Tai Chi classes are the only ones that are live right now. And so they're, we keep adding to them because people are really craving personal connection. So we did just build a new deck, which is very exciting, which means we can have outdoor programs, which is really, we're thrilled about. If you can advance to the next slide. In addition to serving older adults specifically, we have a number of programs that serve our entire community that have become very, great collaboration points in our town. So we have a diaper and a brief bank that is supported by the Champlain Valley Junior League has a diaper bank, nationwide that is mostly is actually exclusively for younger diapers, but we also have a brief bank for adults as well. Durable medical loan equipment and other types of resources and supports around Medicaid applications and navigating how do I get this service that I critically need. And in the summer particularly, we do have community events, and in the fall as well, we try to have a presence in festivals in our town and other types of kind of ways that people come together. And that's pretty much it. I think that, that vision of everyone coming together in our community and intergenerational interaction, we really feel that older adults benefit so much by interacting with younger individuals, and kids and younger individuals really benefit from meeting and shaking the hands of and being near people older adults who maybe they're not in their family. So we try our best to find points in our community where that can happen. And that's it. I think that I know this is just a brief kind of introduction. You're welcome to come down to our activities barn and say hello anytime you're in the southeast corner of the state.
Thank you so much, Ruby. And I know you're on the road, so we really appreciate your participation here and in the VASCamp network. Andrea was having a difficult time. She had the wrong link, Dan. So I just forwarded her the right link. So hopefully she'll be getting right on. Next, we do have Burlington, but in case she's not getting on, I think I'm going to skip to Castleton, and we'll come back to Burlington. Is that okay with you, Joanne? Joanne, you're muted still.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm Joanne Riley, Executive Director at the Castleton Community Seniors in Castleton, Vermont. I work with Lori Knauer, who is our Program Director, and the two of us have been here 19 years. So we've seen the organization grow from about 60 members to our current 500 plus members. And it's been an exciting journey to travel together with all of these folks and watch it happen. Just a little history, a little background of how it came about in that beautiful house that you see on the slide. In December 1995, through the generosity of the Alma Gibbs Donchen Foundation, the Gibbs family homestead was donated to the town of Castleton to be used as a senior center. The town conveyed the property to the newly formed Castleton Community Seniors nonprofit organization to provide programs and services for older adults in the towns of Castleton, Fairhaven, and Hubbardton. Castleton Community Seniors provide 3 essential programs for our members: a van service for seniors and disabled members of the community, a senior meal program, and a wellness program with evidence-based fitness classes and opportunities for socialization. Our senior meal program, you can see an example here on the slide of our dining room, provides congregate dining 2 days a week in the dining room. Meals are by donation only. Last year, we served 1,459 meals at the center, and we helped to deliver over 6,000 home-delivered meals through the Meals on Wheels program. We have a dedicated all-volunteer team from Castleton University and the Community Center to do the at-home deliveries. Our wellness program happens in our beautiful renovated 1905 barn. The barn was part of the property. It's on the property here, and the increased demand and growth of our wellness classes necessitated a capital campaign to renovate the barn in 2009. So that's where all of our classes are held now. The Wellness Center provides 8 different evidence-based fitness classes each week, including bone builders, osteoporosis prevention, better balance falls prevention, Tai Chi for arthritis, Tai Chi for falls prevention, as well as aerobic and line dance. The other essential program, so critical to all of our members getting to and from the center, is our transportation program. Our transportation program is also by donation only and is intertwined with the success of all our other programs. We have a 14-passenger wheelchair accessible van and an 8-passenger wheelchair accessible van, and riders are picked up at their door and returned to their homes. We have a full-time van driver. This past year, you want to switch to our van picture, Deanna? Thank you. This past year, we provided 1,533 rides for doctor's appointments, physical therapy, wellness classes, senior meals, food shopping, and socialization opportunities at the community center. In addition to transportation and wellness, we have a wide range of activities. This is an example here of our collaboration with Castleton University. We have students who come from Castleton University for our game day, which is once a month with the older adults. It's an intergenerational activity that is very popular. In addition to the fitness classes that we offer, we have volunteer-led activities, including a book club, creative writing, great courses lectures, knitting and sewing groups, ukulele, guitar, and singing groups, an art guild, craft classes, coffee hour, and as I mentioned at the beginning, our game days with Castleton University students. So just as in a conclusion or a wrapping up here, through our programs and services, the Castleton Community Seniors strive to ensure that older adults in our community can look forward to not just living longer, but to living well. Thank you for letting us share our information with you.
Thank you, Joanne. I see Andrea has joined us, so I'm going to travel back up to Burlington here and turn it over to Andrea. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Deanna. Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Vietz. I'm the Executive Director of the Heineberg Community Senior Center located in Burlington's new North End. Thank you for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about what we do. The Heineberg was established in 1971 to serve the senior citizens of Burlington and surrounding towns. We're an independent, community-based nonprofit serving more than 600 seniors every year, with activities ranging from bone builders to bingo, which you may hear in the background, mahjong to yoga, cribbage to line dancing. We provide free, locally grown produce and donated groceries, health clinics, educational workshops, and more. We're currently hosting weekly AARP tax preparation services. All told, we will serve more than 180 individuals and couples with this program alone. The Heineberg is unusual in that we rely almost exclusively on volunteers to teach classes, lead activity groups, collect and distribute donated produce and groceries, staff fundraising events, and keep our building clean and safe. Almost all of our programs are free to local seniors, helping us to welcome a diverse group of participants. Many of our participants and volunteers remember when they first came to the senior center as children together with their parents. This organization is deeply rooted in the community. We are one of the many organizations that has come to rely on free meals from Everyone Eats. Together with free grab-and-go lunches provided by AgeWell, we distribute between 125 and 150 meals every week. For those living on a fixed income, those who no longer have the manual dexterity to chop vegetables, and those who simply eat poorly because they are alone, nutritious prepared meals are an essential part of remaining strong and healthy as one ages. With Everyone Eats coming to an end, food prices rising ever higher, and SNAP benefits being reduced as we speak, we are embarking on a new project, Heineberg Senior Meals. With the support of ARPA funds from the City of Burlington, we are stepping up to the challenge of providing nutritious, home-cooked, free congregate meals for 20 to 30 seniors every day. We're hiring a part-time cook and menu planner. Volunteers are working on plans to assist with serving and cleaning up, and I am busy writing grants and seeking in-kind donations to supplement the funding we received from the city to ensure that Heineberg Senior Meals go on well beyond this first year. We look forward to the delicious smells of simmering soups, roasting vegetables, and baked goods filling our building as seniors arrive to eat a delicious and nutritious meal. We anticipate listening to the sounds of chatting and laughter and feeling the warmth that comes from sharing a good meal with good friends. And after lunch, seniors can play bingo or bridge, exercise with bone builders, try out line dancing, or find the latest bestseller to borrow from our library. Together, we're working to empower seniors to strengthen bodies, minds, and friendships, and to maintain their essential place in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. It's really inspiring and so interesting to hear what's happening there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to jump forward now down to Woodstock, and that means it's my turn to share what's happening at the Thompson in the Woodstock area. So as we've taken you around the state, I'm the last one today to close this out. The Thompson serves Woodstock, Barnard, Bridgewater, Pomfret, and surrounding areas. We are a multi-purpose senior center with meals, nutrition, activities, and a robust aging at home support program. We serve around 1,700 seniors last year, and that number is growing every year. We have, I'll go into a little bit more detail about the meal program, but our Aging at Home support program was modeled after the Village to Village Network. We're a member of that organization. And I believe Montpelier Senior Activity Center is as well. This is a model that's growing in Vermont through senior centers and programs like ours. We have a robust medical equipment lending program, like Bugby mentioned. We give out about 45 pieces of medical equipment a month. We have a vetted local providers listing that we check references, and you have to agree to receive referrals from us for everything from caregivers to homemakers and housekeepers. We have an Age Well education series talking about how to hire a caregiver, what documents and planning you need to have in place. We have advanced directive counselors. This year, one of our newest additions to this Aging at Home support program is a handyman on staff for very small odd jobs that can be done in an hour or so. We have a suggested donation for that, but we don't turn people away if they have an odd job that needs doing. We have foot care clinics. We have had our first successful home share match. We were trained by Home Share Vermont and follow their model for our home share facilitation program. We also do the tax preparation utilizing AARP tax aid volunteers and have Medicare and insurance support programs on site, and a wonderful community care coordinator through the community health team that we partner with for many, many things. Taking a look around the Thompson, we have learned through COVID and think that the new normal is a variety of program options and spaces. We have indoor programming, outdoor programming, in-house and online, and hybrid programming, which we found has continued and been very popular throughout COVID and now as the new normal. We have lots and lots of social events and bring people together. Probably the thing I hear more from anyone else, or more than anything else, is what it means to people to be able to gather and not be alone. Our nutrition program, again, you can see the variety of spaces here. We've created an outdoor dining area in the front and the back of our building so that the dining room wouldn't be as crowded. We've had sort of a renovation starting to have more of a cafe feel, and we have now tables in our dining room and living room so people can eat where they're most comfortable. And we have a wonderful executive chef who focuses on local foods and from scratch cooking, as Nicole mentioned, similarly. And people are just loving the meals. Over the past 10 years, our Meals on Wheels in particular, not just during COVID, but even before that, you can see we had significant growth from 5,800 meals to over 18,000 meals last year. And as a bigger part of the program, we served 26,000 total meals. So that was in-house as well. Of course, our dining room was closed for a good portion of these years. And some of those meals were converted into takeout or grab and go meals, but not all. And our dining in the dining room is coming back pretty steadily now. So how we're funded, we are a private nonprofit. We're not a town department. We have our own private board and operate independently. Fundraisers account for 39% of our funding. Older Americans Act that comes from Senior Solutions for the meals. The meal contract is 19% of our income. Meal donations is 13%. Town funding 10%, and then we use invested funds, grants, participant contributions, and other rental programs, memorial donations make up the rest. So what's next for us in Woodstock? We have a brand new 5-year strategic plan. We surveyed our community every 5 years or so. We do an aging at home survey and really look at what our community wants from us. And it's one of the things I'm really proud of about our organization, to be able to evolve to meet the community's needs. We're growing the aging at home program, as I mentioned before, with the handyman services and the home sharing. And we're embarking on a building renovation and expansion project and capital campaign. Right now, we are building a bigger kitchen and additional dining to keep up with that growth that you saw. So that's Woodstock. So to wrap up and bring everything back around to VASCamp. So I'm putting that VASCamp hat back on. Vermont Senior Centers, as you can see, I hope, and meal providers and partners from around the state are the front lines of supporting socialization and engagement and preventing isolation. We are essential in the state's effort to support healthy aging and prevent or delay institutionalization. And I think you can probably tell, but why is it so important to have a strong network of support for all of these senior centers and meal providers that you've heard from today and many, many more? We know that the Vermont demographics, as has been mentioned here a few times, are still growing. Census projections indicate that people aged 65 to 79 are still the fastest growing age group in Vermont. And we need support systems. They are key in mitigating the multiple challenges older adults face during the pandemic, such as increased health risks and social isolation. This is a great issue of the Vermont Legislative Joint Fiscal Office issue brief from just in January, if you haven't seen it yet. The National Council on Aging points out, and I hope you could see in all of these presentations, that compared with their peers, senior center participants have higher levels of health, social interaction, and life satisfaction. We do have challenges, though. It's summarizing some of the challenges from around the state. These are from annual surveys and hearing from people during our monthly meeting. Finances and program sustainability is the #1 concern and issue of our programs. The growing food costs and supply costs are significant. Transportation is a challenge. Many of us are not on public transportation routes, and transportation in rural areas is really a challenge. Our physical spaces are sometimes outdated or too small and needing upgrades. We do have an aging volunteer base. Staffing and staff turnover is a challenge in many places, although not in Castleton. 19 years for both of their staff. That's amazing. It is. Access to technology, especially we learned during COVID, and that really goes without saying. People that don't have internet or don't have technology equipment and skills. Bringing people back in a safe environment post-COVID has been a challenge, and menu and recipe development is something that we're talking about as a challenge in ways that we can support each other with that. And then really to pinpoint one of the critical challenges that we talked about, our meals have to meet the Older Americans Act requirements, and we have to purchase the foods that allow us to do that where they're not donated. But growth in the need for home delivered meals paired with drastically increasing food and supply costs is creating an even larger gap. These are examples shared from 2 different meal sites. A case of lettuce that was $34 a case a year ago is now $69 a case. Butter, eggs, fruit, meat, packaging all have similar increases. And another example, the average raw food cost per meal, not including payroll and overhead, is $4.12 a meal. In 2020, it was $3.73, an increase of 39 cents over 2 years, when serving 30,000 meals a year means an additional $11,000 deficit to maintain the same level of service. So we as VASCAMP have the goals of utilizing the ACL grant that we've been awarded with Age Well as the fiscal sponsor for our VASCAMP capacity building, to hire a staff person and establish VASCAMP as a 501c3. We want to raise awareness about the critical link between strengthening senior centers and preventing isolation. We want to continue sharing best practices and innovations with each other and our AAAs, V4A, and Dale as well, and begin research on a statewide group purchasing and buying group. That's something that a VASCAMP staff person we hope would have capacity to do. And we want to seek sustainable long-term support of senior centers and meal sites. And we ask you to support H109. I think that's a good start, and we're so pleased to have been able to share all of these thoughts and have your time today. So you are invited to come to any of us. We'd love to see you. We know we see you sometimes, but spread the word about your senior centers, and you're invited to visit us.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deanna. Thank you to Deanna, Mark, April, Nicole, Ruby, Joanne, and Andrea. You guys did a great job. Really nice to hear of all the great work you're doing out in the communities around. So thank you. I'll give a quick update. I know that 109 was brought up. And just so people know, the funding in 109 was also included in H367, which is a rural economic development bill. And so both of those bills reflect an increase to how we fund our home delivered meals program. So will also be in a budget letter from the Human Services Committee to Appropriations that we're working on today in committee. So hopefully that will move through the legislative process and be included in our final budget at the end of the legislative session. So appreciate all the support on making sure folks know about that. Are there any comments anyone want to add or have any questions for any of our presenters?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
The great presentation. Looking at where you bounced around the state, I'm assuming this isn't all the members because I was looking for something in the southwest and northeast of the state.
This is definitely not all of the members. We tried to, we picked people who were available and willing to present, first of all. We have a monthly meeting on the first Wednesday of every month. It's actually this afternoon at 2:00. And there are about 45 participants that come in and out throughout the year. But there's many, many more members than this. This was just a glimpse.
The sampling then. Oh, great. Great. Thank you.
Good. Any other questions for our presenters today or any comments about home delivered meals, senior centers, all of the good work that's happening out there? All right, I'm sure we'll be talking about this further as we go through the legislative session and as the Older Vermonters Caucus continues each week. I'll just add a quick update. I know some people have been following H-171, which is Adult Protective Services updates. And so in committee today, you can find it on the Human Services page. We kind of finalized the last of the language. The bill will be going over to Judiciary Committee, where they're going to be looking at some of the issues that affect our courts and punishment and crime and penalties, and then it will go off to Ways and Means Committee. So we were hoping to maybe have a vote on it this Friday, but there's a good possibility it could be after the town meeting break that it would be on the floor for debate of the full House before it goes over to the Senate. So something we've been working on a lot this legislative session for sure. So it's actually down to 59 pages, I think, from 63. So looking forward to having us move on to some new topics in committee for sure. I don't know if anyone has anything coming up. We won't be meeting next week because of the town meeting break, but we'll resume after break. So thank you everyone for being here. And we'll see you all soon. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Great job. Thank you, Deanna.